Hey everybody, my name's Kyle, and this is Great 28 on Track by Track. Throughout February, I'm highlighting one great album per day. It's day 17, which brings us to the letter P, and an album that I think I would include in my Desert Island discs. It's Exile In Guyville by Liz Phair. You know, I wish I could remember specifically where I first learned about this album. I was in college back in 1993, and I recall stumbling across an article about Liz Phair in a newspaper or magazine at the library one day. Now, obviously, this was still several years before you can go online and check anything out, so there must have been something very compelling about that write-up that made me want to go out and buy the CD. Chances are it had something to do with how the article characterized the raw nature of Phair's lyrics. I'm sure it sounded very provocative at the time. Heck, it's still a provocative album. But I certainly wasn't hearing it on MTV's 120 Minutes or on my college radio station. There was a single and a video that were in rotation, but I'd understand if the song Never Said didn't catch most people's attention. While that song may have been the safest or most commercial song on the album, I think it's also perhaps the weakest track and maybe least representative of the rest of the album. Exile in Guyville is a lo-fi masterpiece. The genesis of the songs was in simple 4-track bedroom recordings, and thankfully the studio versions that ended up on the album still retain that raw, ragged feeling. Liz Phair's bluntly sexual lyrics in some of the songs shocked listeners, and recording them in such an unvarnished way lent them an even greater sense of being confessional. The story we've heard from the very beginning, it seems, is that the album was a song-by-song response to the Rolling Stones album Exile On Main St. I have to say I've always found that notion to be a bit of a stretch. I'd hardly call this a concept album. Still, some of Phair's songs could easily exist in the same gritty blues universe as the Stones classic. Take the song Mesmerizing, for example, with its simple but still blues-flavored guitar solo. In spite of the lo-fi approach and the now notoriously frank sexuality of some of the lyrics, there's some truly evocative storytelling going on in many of these songs. Consider Divorce Song, Shatter, or Stratford on Guy, for example. Even if the women Phair is channeling in these songs are entirely fictional, she's pretty much said that that is the case, they still feel real and relatable. And here I'm saying this from a guy's point of view. I'd imagine that her female listeners would relate on a different level. And I'd imagine that on songs like 6 Feet 1 and Help Me Mary, that they also resonate differently for women than men. But as I said, I absolutely love this album, and I know that many other critics do as well. It's not as glossy and as pretty as, well, anything really, but when you put it alongside other female singer-songwriter albums of that era, like the Sarah McLachlan album we talked about a couple of days ago, Exile in Guyville delivers an entirely different kind of experience. It's absolutely essential listening, and more than deserves its place in the Great 28. Once again, my name's Kyle, and this is Track by Track. Be sure to click subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode of Great 28 and many more videos to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.